morning sunlight filtered through the curtains, casting a warm glow over the room. I blinked awake, stretching my limbs and savoring the last remnants of sleep before the reality of the day rushed in. I had been anticipating this day for weeks, the day I finally moved into my new apartment. After months of searching, I had found a cozy one-bedroom space on the outskirts of the city. It was a fresh start, a chance to break free from the confines of my old life. As I packed the last few boxes into my car, I felt a surge of excitement. My friends Sarah and Emily had promised to help me move in. We had planned to spend the day unpacking, decorating, and celebrating this new chapter. I could already envision the warm, inviting atmosphere we would create together. The drive to my new place was short, yet filled with anticipation. When I arrived, I marveled at the quaint exterior of the building. The sun illuminated the charming brick facade, and I could already envision the memories that would unfold within its walls. I quickly unloaded the car, and as I was carrying a particularly heavy box to the front door, I was approached by a man. "Hey there," he called out, a friendly smile on his face. "Need some help?" I stopped, taken aback by his unexpected kindness. He was tall, with sandy blonde hair and a relaxed demeanor. Sure, that would be great," I replied, relieved to have an extra set of hands. "Name's Jake," he said as he grabbed the box from my hands with ease. "I live in the unit above you. I saw you moving in and thought I'd lend a hand." "Thanks, Jake. I'm Claire," I said, smiling at him. "I appreciate it." As we made our way inside, we chatted about the building and the neighborhood. Jake seemed genuine and friendly, and I felt a sense of ease in his presence. After we set the box down in my living room, he offered to help with the rest of the move. For the next few hours, we unloaded boxes and set up my new apartment. My friends arrived shortly after, and together we transformed the space into something that felt like home. Jake blended seamlessly into the group, his laughter and easygoing attitude putting everyone at ease. After everything was unpacked, we decided to take a break and enjoy a pizza that Sarah had brought. We gathered around the small dining table, laughter and chatter filling the air as we enjoyed our meal. Jake shared amusing stories about the building and the quirky neighbors he had met. But as the night wore on, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Jake seemed too eager to please, his laughter perhaps a little too forced. I shrugged it off as my imagination running wild. After all, he was just a nice guy trying to help out a new neighbor. Once the pizza was gone and our stomachs were full, Emily suggested a game of cards to break the ice further. We settled down around the table, shuffling the deck and laughing at inside jokes. I found myself glancing at Jake, who was unusually quiet during the game, a contemplative expression replacing the earlier joviality. The laughter filled the room, but as the night progressed, the atmosphere began to shift. Jake's demeanor darkened subtly, and I noticed him stealing glances at my belongings, particularly at my phone, which lay carelessly on the table. The warmth I felt earlier began to dissipate, replaced by an unsettling feeling. "Hey, Claire," Jake said suddenly, breaking his silence. "Can I borrow your phone? I want to send a quick text to my brother." Caught off guard, I hesitated. Sure. Just be careful with it," I replied, handing it over despite my instinctual reservations. He smiled, but it didn't quite reach his eyes as he tapped away on my phone. I exchanged worried glances with Emily and Sarah, who seemed to sense the shift in energy as well. A few minutes later, he handed my phone back with a grin. "Thanks. I really appreciate it." "No problem," I said, forcing a smile, but my mind raced with questions. What had he texted? Why did he seem so eager to borrow my phone? As the evening wore on, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. I found myself watching Jake closely, noting the way he lingered near my things and how his laughter felt hollow. Eventually, my friends started to leave, and I felt a sense of relief wash over me. Once they were gone, I made a quick trip to the bathroom to gather my thoughts, splashing cold water on my face to shake off the lingering unease. When I returned to the living room, Jake was still there, leaning casually against the wall. "You don't have to rush off, he said, his tone deceptively casual. "We could hang out a bit longer." I felt a prickle of discomfort. "I appreciate the offer, but I think I'm just going to get some rest. It's been a long day." He frowned slightly but nodded. "Sure, I understand. Just thought I'd offer." As I began to tidy up, he lingered, shifting from foot to foot as if unsure of his next move. "Do you want help with anything?" he asked, but his eyes held a strange intensity that made my skin crawl. "No, I think I've got it. Thanks for your help today." "Really?" I replied, trying to keep my tone light. He studied me for a moment before breaking into a forced smile. "Okay then, just let me know if you need anything. I'm just upstairs." I said nothing, a sense of finality in my tone. After he left, I locked the door behind him and took a deep breath, trying to shake off the unsettling feelings. I knew I was being paranoid, but something about Jake's behavior had struck me as off. That night, I struggled to sleep, tossing and turning as shadows danced across the walls. My mind raced with thoughts of the day, of the move, my friends, and Jake. I replayed the moments in my head, searching for clues that might explain the growing sense of unease. The next day, I decided to take a walk to clear my head. The sun was shining, and the air was fresh, helping to ease some of the tension that had built up inside me. I strolled through the neighborhood, taking in the sights and sounds, but I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. As I turned the corner, I caught sight of Jake sitting on the steps of the building, scrolling through his phone. I felt a knot form in my stomach as I approached. "Hey Jake," I said, forcing a smile. "Hey Claire, just enjoying the nice weather," he replied, looking up with a friendly grin that did little to ease my anxiety. "Yeah, it's nice out," I said, keeping my tone casual. He gestured for me to sit beside him. "I was just thinking about how fun last night was. We should hang out more." "Definitely," I replied, trying to keep the conversation light. But I couldn't ignore the unease creeping back in. As we chatted, I felt a nagging sensation in the back of my mind. I wanted to ask about the text he had sent from my phone, but I hesitated. Instead, I asked about his job and his life, trying to gather information without being too direct. "I work from home most of the time," he said, glancing at me. "It's pretty boring, to be honest. I like meeting new people, though." "Yeah, I get that," I said, forcing a smile, but his gaze seemed to linger a moment too long, making me uncomfortable. I stood up, suddenly eager to escape the tension. I should get back to unpacking. "Thanks for chatting." As I walked away, I could feel his eyes on me, an intensity that sent chills down my spine. I hurried back to my apartment, locking the door behind me. Later that evening, as I settled down to watch a movie, my phone buzzed with a notification. I picked it up, and my heart sank as I saw a message from an unknown number. "Nice to meet you today. Looking forward to hanging out again." My breath caught in my throat. Who was this? I didn't recognize the number, but a sudden sense of dread washed over me. I quickly checked my recent calls and texts, my heart racing as I searched for any signs of what was happening. And then I saw it. A text from Jake's number, sent late last night. I took care of it. "You'll never know." Panic surged through me as the reality of the situation began to sink in. I had trusted him. I had let my guard down. Who was he really, and what had he done? I felt sick to my stomach as I remembered his strange behavior, the intensity in his gaze. I needed to get out of there. I grabbed my things and bolted out of the apartment, heart pounding as I raced down the stairs. I didn't stop until I was outside, the cool night air hitting my face like a slap. I didn't know where to go, but I couldn't stay there any longer. My mind raced as I fumbled for my phone to call Sarah. I needed to talk to someone to figure out what was happening. But as I dialed her number, I noticed a shadow moving behind me. I turned quickly, my heart racing, and there he was, Jake, standing just a few feet away, a look of surprise on his face. "Claire!" he called out, and I felt a surge of terror. "Where are you going?" I took a step back, my hand shaking as I gripped my phone. "What did you do?" I demanded. "What did you do to my phone?" His smile faltered for a moment, and I saw something shift in his eyes. Something cold, calculating. "I'm just looking out for you, Claire," he said softly, his voice taking on a sinister edge. I backed away, my breath coming in ragged gasps. There was no turning back now. Whatever was happening, I had to stop it before it was too late.